Presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Fires upfield into the end zone. It is caught. Jelani Woods, touchdown! INDY!
Yes.
43-point night for Tyrese Halliburton.
How do you like that, partner?
Renew now, drives in low, throws up a shot. It doesn't go. Tipped up and in by Anthony Leal. Indiana takes the lead.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hey, welcome aboard on this Thursday. Appreciate you being with us. Always great to have you. Lots going on today. Loaded lineup. Shannon Griffith joins us. Talk some football. Bob Kravitz. Lord knows what we'll talk about with Bob. Tyler Smith from thehoosier.com as Indiana lands one of their next to last pieces with a commitment last night from Langdon Hatton out of Southern Indiana. And Chris Denari will also join us as well. We'll talk NBA as the Pacers are on life support as they head into a critical game 6. I think, what is that, tomorrow night? Yeah, Friday night at 8:30, I think I saw. They're 5.5-point favorites, so plenty to get to. How's everybody doing? Don't forget Indiana Sports Beat Radio, powered by Andy Moore Honda. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com and the best in new and used vehicles. Just go to AndyMooreHonda.com and find all that out. Also, the Autograph app. Autograph is where real fans get unreal rewards, the first app to track and reward fans for loving what they love most, turning passion into access and experiences. Download the Autograph app in either Apple App Store or Google Play. Autograph, where unhinged fandom meets unreal rewards. What that means is this is a link or an app you can find all your, if it's IU content, you can find it all in one spot. And I think you build up points just by reading and going through stuff. And then they offer some crazy prices on tickets to sporting events. But make sure you use that code, whatever you call it, ISB Media, /ISB Media. I don't know how that works there, but you can always use the, make sure you use the code ISB Media. How's everybody doing? Appreciate you for being with us. Don't forget some events coming up very soon. Monday, May 20th, right around the corner. It's on, 4 days away? The IU Alumni Association of Greater Evansville's annual golf scramble happens at Sultan's Run down in Jasper. All proceeds benefit local students through their Greater Alumni Association chapter of the IU Alumni Association. You can go to simply myiu.org/events/Evansville Golf 24, or reach out to Kyle King at kywking@indiana.edu, or you can give him a call at 812-677-1119. And one other event coming up, the Hoosiers at Huber's returns for its annual gathering. It happens on Wednesday, May 29th, so that not very far away either. We're less than 2 weeks to both of those deals happening. Of course, that happens at Huber's Orchard Winery and Vineyards. Special event for this Southern Indiana, Louisville fans, but people come from further away. It'll feature head football coach Kurt Signetti, men's basketball coach Mike Woodson, players from Indiana's men's and women's basketball and football programs. It includes an autograph session afterwards. Proceeds from this year's event will benefit Indiana's NIL program. It's only $50 to attend. That price has not gone up and as long as I can remember. But the doors will open at 5:30. Program starts at 6. You can go to inforindiana.com and get all that information. So, man, got that out of the way. Lots going on, man. Absolutely. Lots going on. And Bill has got the right idea. Just as soon as you log in, you should just click that like button. We got to make that start making that a habit for everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. Appreciate everybody across the way on our affiliates, whether it's at 99.7 WREF, ESPN, the Ref in Evansville, always the right call. We're up in the region, Chicagoland as well, WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, and over in Fort Wayne on 1380 The Fan. Got to get some love to the Tin Cups, man. Get them going. Hope everybody's, and of course, our audience on YouTube, that people from all walks, Bob down in Georgetown, Fred over in Easton, Pennsylvania, Donald's down in Atlanta, Larry, Las Vegas, Larry, Mike Shenanigans, Russell, let's see, Forrest is on from Southern Georgia, Gritty down in Southern Indiana, John from Southport, Rex is on from Yuma, Arizona. He took the 310 to Yuma. Appreciate you, Rex. Happy Hatton Day, ha. Five Lefts on as well. Where's Five Lefts from? I don't know if we've ever established that. Jamie up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Kent in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Bill down in Jeffersonville. Old buddy Buffalo Bill. Have I hit everyone so far that's already on? Appreciate everybody. Yeah, Indiana has filled one of their two remaining scholarship spots for the basketball program with the commitment last night of Langdon Hatton, and that fills a nice row. He's a 6'10" fill in for the middle, transfer from Bellarmine now, but he started his career at I think it was 3 years at William and Mary, so he has some decent D1 experience. He went to Bellarmine, played for Scotty Davenport down in Louisville, and hey, they may not be the, in a high P4 conference, but you play for Scotty Davenport, you're going to play some good ball. And the 6'10" kid out of North Harrison High School, man, North Harrison, like I said a couple days ago, I remember when they were just a punching bag, and they continued to grow, and no longer the case. Big 6'10" kid. So looking forward to seeing what that is like. After transferring to Bellarmine following his freshman campaign, he more than that. He only played his freshman year at William and Mary. He spent the following 2 years with the Knights, appearing in 64 games over 2 seasons, and he started 37 times. Last year was the best year of his college career by far. He averaged career highs in each of the following: points at 10.5, rebounds 7, just over an assist per game, and less than 1 block per game. He also shot 48% from the field a season ago with the Knights, including converting at a 33% from 3 on 1.5 attempts per game. Hey, that for a big man, that's perfect, which means he's possibly going to put up 2 to 3 shots a game. And if you can get 1 to 2 out of him, that's a game changer. A guy that's just going to play limited minutes, that's a game changer when you have somebody come in as just a backup that has that ability. So Indiana adds, I don't want to say they've added to their shooting because of that, but they've added a nice utility big. He's a utility big, whereas Ballo is, where Ballo is going to be. He's going to be down in the guts, down in the paint. He's going to be grinding. He's not going to be taking 3-point shots. But when Hatton comes in, there's an option of creating a different offense where you're not so much focused in the paint and forcing defenses to chase around. So that could create a great obstacle for teams defensively. But Indiana has one of their latest, or one of their last positions. Now, do they fill this final position? I've got to be honest with you. I don't know. it is certainly not as critical as it was last year. Last year it was critical because they did not have half of the talent they already have on this roster now. So this is a year where you're not going to look at that and think, well, that was stupid to leave that open. But with 1 year guys, and if it's there, if you can find somebody, you grab them with 1 year, unless you find some kind of jewel. But at this point, usually when you have one spot left and all the positions are accounted for, you're going to be fortunate to get someone that's really going to expect to be of great help. But like I said, you've got the scholarship. It's found money, although that's not really true. But it's there. It's available to be used. It's there for whether it's for practice, for making things more competitive in practice. But again, like I said, there's a huge difference in not filling the final scholarship this year versus last year. They already have twice the talent. They have upgraded in every area. I'm not saying that it's all elite, but they have definitely upgraded. How will that help? I think that maybe that helps guys like Trey Galloway, to be honest with you, to be able to play a little looser. He will have less on his shoulders to have to worry about as far as carrying. And actually, it should open up things more. If Indiana can get the shooting from, say, Mackenzie Mbako, if they can get shooting from somebody in the guard spot, that's just, and if Ballo is Ballo, that's going to change things, potentially. Mike Woodson has definitely built a roster that has a lot of options on it, options that he did not have last year, which were their fault. That stays, that's at the hands of the staff for building the roster. But the opposite is the case this year. Or this upcoming season. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on the floor and gel together. But we've got lots coming up to talk about. The Rivals Combine Series for football happens this weekend. It's the final stop, and it's at Indianapolis Decatur High School, Saturday, May 18th. This is an elite invitation-only camp, so there be plenty of elite players up there. We'll talk more about that either with Shannon probably. The NBA Combine, hopefully we'll get some updates from Tyler Smith. How is Killel Ware doing? He had a great report. We'll talk about the new potential of unlimited coaches in college football. Crazy. Later, we'll talk. How about some odd high school nicknames? I saw some crazy ones. Doug Gottlieb to Green Bay. That is the biggest, like what? Say what? In sports this year. The Colts schedule is out. The PGA is happening right now. I'm watching it down in Louisville at Valhalla. And today might be great, but coming up, it looks like rain tomorrow for sure. And of course, we'll talk about the Pacers and the NBA. Chris Denari. We've got lots more coming up here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by Andy Moore Honda. Just go to andymorehonda.com and the Autograph app. You can download it at Google Play and Android, and what do you call the app? The Android one, the one that I have.
That was the Android one.
Oh, Google Play and
the Apple App Store.
Yeah, Apple App Store. But make sure you use ISB Media as your reference code. We're coming back. We've got Shannon Griffith joining us right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
In the market.
All right, I'm going to grab my coffee. I'll be right back.
No.
If pops in. You can pull him in. If
No.
You
No. The penultimate. I love that word, penultimate. reminding you about Monday golf, Jasper. Good.
All right.
I'm probably going to need a ride. Question mark. Da, 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 da.
I feel like the final scholarship will go, if it is filled, I feel like it will more than likely, and I'm not basing this off of anything other than just intuition, but I feel like it will go to just kind of a late freshman edition that kind of pops up out of nowhere.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I'm not talking about some elite freshman, though. I'm talking about somebody who wants to kind of fill out the roster.
No way. Not as a freshman.
So?
No, that's now you've wasted. If they're not elite, hell no, you do not give a scholarship to a potential 4-year guy who will.
The way I see it, though, is if that player just wants to hop on for a year and then jump in the transfer portal just to play against good talent in practice, I could see that being something that, I mean, maybe people don't think about that happening, but it wouldn't surprise me. But who knows? Maybe Indiana won't do that. It's just a thought. Like Joey Hart's a great example last year. He went to Kentucky, didn't do anything. I don't know how many minutes he played, but I bet it was less than 20 for the whole season. And now he's at Ball State. I guess Shannon's not here yet, but we're back in 10, so I guess we keep on rolling.
Chop Shop Market and Table, a part of the Wild Food Group, is your butcher, baker, and fish house, no matter where you live.
This segment is brought to you by the Chop Shop, home of the Indiana football and men's basketball coaches shows. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. About to get to the end of the week. Hope you're having a good one. Of course, brought to you by Chop Shop Market and Table, home of the Indiana basketball and football coaches shows, located just north of Bloomington High School South on South Walnut. Your local meat shop, steakhouse, and caterer, no matter where you live. Chop Shop Market and Table offers a great sit-down dining experience for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, where you can even pick out your own steak from the on-site butcher or choose from their incredible daily dinner specials. Chop Shop's Butcher Shop offers quality meats like locally sourced Wagyu steaks from right down the road here at the Voiles farm, and more. Don't miss out on Chop Shop's daily in-house made bakery items, cakes, pies, and pastries right from the bakery. All mouth-watering. Welcome back. Of course, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Hopefully, Shannon Griffith will be joining us. Talk some football. Indiana looking to see, when is the visit from the number one quarterback in the country, Julian Lewis? That's still mind-boggling to say. But he has set up a visit to come to Indiana, even though he's committed to USC. Shannon joining us now. Shannon, I was just talking about the fact that Indiana, new mic, huh?
Yeah, I got a new mic, rocking a new mic today. Little Indiana red there.
Boy, that thing, that sticks out.
Yeah.
That'll grab your attention.
Hey, whatever it
How have you
takes, right?
How have you been?
Good. Trying to get over this virus or whatever that's going around. Been coughing for 2 weeks.
Called COVID. No, I'm kidding. I think it's all the I don't know if it's like that up in the Fort Wayne area, but the yellow pollen, whatever the crap that has been, it was everywhere. Just coating cars, and you're coughing, and I'm like, oh my God, it was awful.
Yeah.
I hear you on that.
Well, my wife works with little kids, and whatever they have, she brings home to me. And so I spent the last week cussing out little kids for bringing me the illness.
That's how it works, brother. I was talking about Indiana landing, even though this kid is committed to USC, which I don't understand. He's taking visits, multiple visits, like everywhere. I don't know if he's just doing it for the visits, which obviously that's not the case to Indiana. You're not right. You're not just good to go to Indiana for a visit for the hell of it, unless he has this overwhelming desire to see Bloomington. But to land a visit from it's Julian Juju Lewis. He is the number one ranked player in the country. Quarterback, 6'1" from Carrollton, Georgia. Again, committed to USC, but who knows what? I don't know anything about their roster. So, and boy, Indiana is deep at quarterback. Not that you would turn this down, but that's pretty. First of all, just landing this visit is gigantic for Indiana. I could probably confidently say this is a first in Indiana football program history.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely got the talent. There's no question about that. I've watched some film on the kid, and he's very dynamic, very mobile, can do a lot of things in the pocket, strong arm. I just don't, I'm kind of like you. I can't imagine that USC would allow him, if he's committed, to make all these other visits.
Well, they can't stop you.
No, you can't stop him. I mean, and I don't know.
The worst that they could do is
just pull his offer.
Pull
his offer.
Which you're not pulling an offer to the number one quarterback.
No, I don't think that's going to happen either. But there's some underlying reason why he's making all these visits. Now, whether that's to test out his value at other institutions from the NIL standpoint, which could be a very big part of it.
You're probably exactly right there.
Yeah, because that's the only reason I could say. Now, I know the young man has a pretty tight connection with Tino. I mean, it goes way back. So that may have a little bit to do with it. And he may look at it and say, yeah, USC, man, it's nice when I'm out there, but man, that's a long way from home. Indiana is much closer in the realm of if I need to get home quickly, I can. It's a 2-hour flight from
and he gets to go to the West Coast.
Yeah, right. So I would not discount the recruiting ability of Tino and what he may be able to do with a young man in terms of laying out why Indiana is a better fit, or Coach Sig in that regard. Now, does that mean there's a logjam there at quarterback when you've got Tyler Cherry and Alberto Mendoza already in the hopper, and this young man could come in the following year? You'd have 3 young quarterbacks on scholarship. In this day and age, you could lose one of those guys tomorrow, and it's kind of what you're facing right now with the drop-off between what we have between Curtis Rourke and Taven Jackson, the 2 most experienced guys, and then a drop to two true incoming freshmen battling out for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, and like I said, just getting that visit, but it also shows, like you said, the power and abilities of Tino right. Suntree, and that's immense, because let's say nothing comes from this, which odds are nothing's going to come from it, but it I don't want to say it puts Indiana on the map, but it has to open some eyes to other people to say, damn, he's going to Indiana, huh?
Yeah. When I was at Ball State many moons ago, and the first rivals and all that started coming out, where kids were listing the schools that were interested, number one, or where they were being recruited by, I know we always wanted a kid to list us in that category, so it put our name in front of a bunch of kids. Same thing with Indiana, in the sense that this kid who's a major recruit, number one quarterback in the country, and he's got Indiana as a possible place that he could play, and definitely he's going to visit. All of a sudden, kids take notice to that. Like, what is Indiana doing to get this number one recruit to come to campus for a visit that he's committed already to USC? So, I don't want to say that you put a lot of stock into that philosophical approach, but at the end of the day, it's a top of mind type of marketing ploy. In some regards, the more times your name flashes in somebody's feed, the more notoriety you're going to have as a program.
Yeah, and that is, of course, the goal. But the best way to make that happen, of course, is the easy answer as always. Win, baby. Just win.
Absolutely.
Winning, I just say it over and over, winning cures everything.
Absolutely.
And it truly does. And I don't doubt that that's going to happen. I did see, though, the over and under by, I forget who it was set at 5 for Indiana. And if that is the case, I'm taking the over on that all day long. I'll be shocked if they do not win 6 games at a minimum. I think that they have the ability to win more. And I'm talking about a team that I only know about from the few spring practices, the spring game, but it's the upgrade in talent and, more importantly, the upgrade in organizational coaching and positional coaching. Again, we talked about Tino. Just the fact that he can get somebody like that in shows you how well respected he is by elite talent, and that is that's major. That is beyond major for Indiana football, because that has never been the case.
Yeah. I don't think there's any question that Coach Sig has a good group of young coaches that can recruit. They relate. There's a relatability there in a lot of respects that they've built up over their years, that they've been in and out of different schools throughout the country. And those guys are going to welcome them into their schools all the time. They're going to speak highly of them, especially with their players. So I think that in itself is a big positive. I mean, we talked after the spring game of what the needs were going to be moving forward, and I believe they've addressed that as well with their defensive line, adding the CJ West kid out of Kent State, who's a really good player, and also in their secondary, adding a couple kids, especially the Pounds kid, who is a really good cover corner. And then, of course, adding some depth at the linebacker spot. So I think they've helped themselves defensively. I'm with you as it pertains to the over-under aspect of things. I do think they have, on paper at least, a team that should be able to win 6 or more games, especially with the schedule that they have. But ultimately, names on paper mean nothing. It's what they do and their productivity on the field each and every Saturday.
Yeah, and looking forward to seeing what that is going to be like for Indiana to start the season. I was looking at the schedule calendar. I have it hanging here in the studio, and it's kind of funny because the home games are all in red and the away games are in, it's dark. I can't see what color it is exactly, but it's a dark color. And it's like red. And I'm like, oh my, is that going to kill them next year? But not really, because you're always going to have the 3 that you're going to be able to 3 home games with the non-con, because that's usually how you schedule those. And then they do play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conference games on the road, which you're playing 9. So you'll have 4 and 3s. They're still going to have 7 home games next year.
Yeah. Yeah, Coach, I call him Coach Dolson in that respect, setting up this schedule the way it has evolved here over the last couple of years. Those are all positives, and he's doing his best to give them the best opportunity to win 6 or more games to get them in bowl games. The odd thing is we'll find out whether Indiana is better at home or on the road, because sometimes you get these kids that for whatever reason they don't play at the highest level when they're playing at home in front of their home crowd. They tense up a little bit and they don't necessarily perform at the highest level, but when you go on the road with them, they play lights out. So we'll find out if playing at home is a positive for them. In that regard. But yeah, you get 8 home games this year. If you got 7 on the schedule for next year, you cannot complain about that at all. From a coach's perspective, when you have to limit the number of times you go on the road.
Absolutely. And then someone mentioned we don't really need a quarterback right now as far as Indiana. Well, yeah, but that's not, again, you don't turn down, I'm sorry, you don't turn down the number 1 quarterback in the country. You just don't, because, well, you can have 10 quarterbacks on your roster, but if Wembayama becomes available to you on a basketball team, you're not going to turn it down. You're just not. And so
it could be any position to that degree.
Exactly. Whatever it does. Exactly. But again, I would be hard pressed to think anything really comes from this, just because, well, I'll tell you another reason. You mentioned it earlier, NIL. I don't know that Indiana can compete NIL wise with the other programs where he is visiting and committed to at USC. Right.
Well, yes, on paper, you would think that USC has a much deeper NIL pocket, which they probably do. And, maybe this kid isn't all that enthralled with NIL and the money that could potentially come to his way. He may be more about, feeling comfortable within the relationships that he's established. And that's, again, Tino has been a guy that has had this relationship with this young man going all the way back, I think, into middle school, when he was in 7th or 8th grade. And I think it was him seeing him at a camp somewhere, and I don't know if there's a family connection as well to this young man. For some reason, I thought I read somewhere there's also a family connection. But anyway, the fact that he has that relationship with a young man in more ways than none, sometimes that outweighs what you can put down on a dollar amount worth, because kids want to go where they're known and they can feel like they're going to be treated fairly and honestly, and they're going to get coached by what they believe is the best coach. And that's what I think is why this kid is interested in Indiana.
Well, I agree with you, but and I will say 2 of the places where he is also expected to visit, USC, one of those, Auburn, some football school named Auburn. I don't know if that's the color of their no, I'm kidding. Is that where the dude that started in Florida went to New Mexico or something and bounced back? Is he going to Auburn or it's Georgia? Georgia. He's going to, so never mind. But Auburn, of course, an SEC Titan. I'm pretty sure they don't have NIL issues, especially when it comes to landing the number 1 ranked quarterback in the country. Then that's followed by Neon Deion and the Colorado Buffs next month. And they're going to need Shador. He's playing this year, right?
Yeah. This
is
last year.
This is going to be it. So this would be the perfect transition for, well, maybe that would mean he's ready to step into a starting role. I'm not going to say that, but I guarantee you, Neon Dion's going to put on the swag show for him.
Well, yeah. Dion flashed on the scene and in a big way. There's no question about that. But I have heard that he sometimes is his own worst enemy, especially the way that he's treated some of his own kids within his program. And true or not, it's the perception that ultimately rules out on that. And I'm not so sure that many kids are flocking for Dion right now, just based upon some of the things that are coming out and how he treats the kids within his program. But again, that's hearsay, but it plays a big part in it. So I don't worry too much about that equation as much as I thought I would a couple years ago.
Well, we'll see what's next. What's up next with you, man?
Hey, man, we're just trying to get through this this late spring healthy and doing some things, trying to get Tyler Harris to come on. We're trying to get some dates, but calendars aren't aligning up because there's a lot of things that are happening with NIL. There's a big lawsuit between Congress and, this profit sharing and things of that magnitude that the NCAA may be on the hook for billions of dollars to schools. And
they're trying to come to that agreement.
Yeah.
But,
well,
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, they've been telling the schools. I mean, I think some of the guidance they've been giving them that they can add another 18 to 20 million to their budgets. But until the I's are dotted and T's are crossed on that, we'll see what all happens. But Tyler's, his expertise in this area as pertains to what may be coming down the pipe is important to know and understand, because I'm not sure everybody understands NIL and who controls it, where's it come from, things of that magnitude. So hopefully we get him on soon.
Appreciate you, my friend. Look forward to it, brother.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
The rivals, the camp is in Decatur High School in Indianapolis this weekend, by the way.
Okay. There you go. I'll make sure that's spread around, because I tell kids all the time, if you want to play college football, there's always going to be a place for you, but you need to be evaluated so you understand where you're fit in terms of the recruiting aspect of things.
Well, speaking of fit, we've got Bob Kravitz up next.
All right.
I don't know if he's going to fit in or throw a fit, but we'll find out.
Always love leading off for Bob.
Appreciate you, my friend. Have a good
buddy.
one.
We'll see you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You bet. Shannon Griffith from Hoosier Tailgate joining us each and every week. Hey, we've got lots more coming up, brought to you by Cheryl Sizemore and Remax Realty. Cheryl's down in Louisville on a girls trip, day trip with the girls, then showing homes in Columbus tonight. Appreciate you. You can contact her, though, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com for any of your needs there in the Indianapolis area. Back with the great Bob Kravitz after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
If you're looking for a home...
What up?
Good day, sir.
How are you?
I'm just peachy.
Peachy keen. We got the Fever tonight. We got the Pacers tomorrow. It's gonna be a busy days.
Are the Fever at home?
Yes.
Okay. Whoever is their media person, I cannot even get a response.
Really? Ryan Stevens is very good, actually.
Ryan
Stevens is the person you want.
I'll check to make sure that's where I sent it, but I'm search mail Fever.
It's STEVENENS. Oh, Lord, wake up.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but this week I have been tired every single day this week. I don't feel like I have a reason to be tired. I just am.
Yeah, I slept 8 hours last night. I'm just like, oh, what the hell's going on? Maybe it's weather. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been
Or
the
12
change in.
beers I'm drinking every night. No, I'm just kidding. More like 3. I don't even know when I'm going to get to the track this year if the Pacers keep going. You want me to send you his contact?
No, actually, I've emailed with him before.
That's weird. He's usually quite good. Well, I know if you're trying to get up to the game tonight, good luck because they're going to be packed. The media area is going to be packed.
I'm sure now. That's what kind of aggravates me.
All right, here we go, guys.
Right now, get a brand new Honda with no payments for 90 days. That's right, 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment-free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to anymoreHonda.com and get more to your door.
This segment is brought to you by Freethink Apparel. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Thursday. I hope all is well. If not, we've got the man that can take care of all of that and more. Bob Kravitz joining us, as he does each and every Thursday at the moment. Robert?
I'm a ray of sunshine, as you well know.
And boy, are you ever just like a big old heart and sun every day.
Exactly.
What is new with Bob Kravitz? I know we've got the Pacers that are on life support right now after that beatdown in New York, which a lot of people thought that maybe Indiana kind of had the Knicks on their heels a little bit.
Right.
And boy, that was not the case.
Yeah, I thought it'd be the Knicks would win, but I thought it'd be a close game. I did not have a 30-point blowout on my bingo card. I thought that was the last stand of a really prideful New York Knicks team that plays so hard. Now, I think when we head back to Indiana tomorrow, I think it'll be a different deal. I think the Pacers will win. I picked the Pacers to win this series in 7. I think they're going to go back to New York. I think they're going to win.
Booyah!
I think the Pacers are going to end up in the Eastern Conference Finals. I said that from the start. I picked the Pacers in 6 over the Bucks. I am going to die on this hill. They are going to win Game 7 in New York.
You heard it right here, Bob Kravitz. Hey, it's all possible.
Tyrese Halliburton's got to show the hell up.
Yeah, what's been up with him, man? He is, boy, when they lose, it's like he went into the locker room and doesn't come back out.
It's startling. Now, understanding that this is his first playoff run, and he's still only 24 years old. I mean, you think he's older because he's kind of an old soul and he gets it. But, man, games 1 and game 5, he was a complete no-show. It was almost as if he didn't want the basketball in his hands. And I found that shocking and really disturbing. That said, I bet you he comes back tomorrow with a 30 to 35 piece and 10 assists and the usual Tyrese that we're accustomed to seeing. But those 2 games, you can't have it in the playoffs. Your best players have got to be your best players night in and night out. And he has not been that in games 1 and 5. And it's really going to be up to him to spearhead a comeback in this series that they trail 3-2.
Yeah, and that is something that is doable. Virtually all of the series are at a 3-2 mark right now. Well, I guess that's because of timing. But ironic that they all are. The Pacers series. Denver is at Minnesota tonight. Is that right? Yeah, tonight at 8:30. They lead the series 3-2. Dallas, their next game is versus Oklahoma City. They lead the series 3-2. And the Celtics, they just closed out the Cavs. So they await the winner of this Knicks and Pacers reiteration of, I don't know, they had to come up with a name for the Pacers and Knicks.
It'll always be Knicks versus Hicks, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, there you go. Knicks versus Hicks. Lot coming up as well outside of that at Indianapolis, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The month of May has already begun. A Grand Prix. Now you move into practice and all of that, but it is a busy, busy month at the track with so many things going on that I don't think people realize.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Now, I'll be honest with you. I have not been to the track yet. I will be there. A lot depends on whether the Pacers advance or not. If the Pacers advance, I'm going to concentrate on that. I'll probably be out there for qualifications. I'll certainly be there for the race. I might be there for Fast Friday. We'll see. But yeah, it's a great time to go on to bobkravitz.com and subscribe. That's what I think. But that's just my personal opinion.
I've heard that, bobkravitz.com, where each day I get or not each day, but each couple of days I get an email of a new story. I know.
Not every day.
Don't blame you.
I'm semi-retired every couple of days.
When are qualifications?
Next week.
So, is Monday or Tuesday? Is it early in the week?
No. Quals are Saturday, Sunday of next week, is my understanding, unless they changed it. But yeah, next weekend.
Oh hell, I'm a week off. What is today's date? Do you know that?
Let me look at my phone.
You had to look up the date. I'm sitting here staring at a calendar.
May 16th.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Next week would be quals, and the week after that would be the race. My assumption is I haven't.
No. Next week is qualifications, which the race is on that Sunday.
Qualifications is next weekend. Somebody help us out here. Qualifications,
somebody
is next week, and then the next week you've got carb day and all that other nonsense, and then the race.
Yeah, I was thinking that the race was on the 26th.
Let me get my handy dandy phone. This is great radio.
I'm telling you, this is Sean. It's just that's what I had written down, just because.
Yes, the 26th. That's
right. Yeah. So that means that qualifications are next week.
Yeah.
Which that Sunday is the race. Carb day is next Friday, and then qualifications in the beginning of that week. So it's all in the same.
I don't know, whatever. But yeah.
You had me confused for a second, man. I'm like, I'm sitting there staring at it.
It'll be interesting. You got Kyle Larson running. You got
that is going to be incredible. Kyle Larson is one of the best drivers in the United States. He is not just, you think of him as a NASCAR driver, but this guy came up on dirt tracks. He still goes to the Chili Bowl out in Oklahoma. And he loves to race. He races everything. And
he's got a Tony Stewart vibe to him.
Yeah, exactly. But probably more talent. And I don't mean that as a disrespect to Tony Stewart. It just seems like this kid could just run, man. He just is just something. But it's going to be interesting. It's Kyle, or not Kyle, but his brother, not Bush, the other Bush brother, not Kyle Bush, but his brother, Kurt Busch, has the highest finish, I think, for a NASCAR driver at 6th.
Okay.
And
right.
So it'll be interesting to see. And the point of all this, though, is Kyle Larson is going to be doing what's called the double. And it's only been done by a handful of guys. Gordon, Bush, and was there one other? Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart, yeah.
So, yeah, he's like the 4th guy to ever do this. And what that is you're running the Indianapolis 500, which doesn't take long to get that race over at 230 miles an hour. But he runs in that. As soon as he gets done, if he wins, that's probably going to throw a little kink in the scheduling.
That'd be a problem because they lead them around by the nose for about 2 hours. We had a great story in The Athletic when I used to work there. Jeff Gluck, one of our writers, followed Pagano literally into the bathroom. he followed him everywhere after he won, and it was a 2-hour marathon of media availabilities and sponsor availabilities and photos and everything like that. The poor guy stunk of milk the whole time from the milk over his head in the winner's circle. The one story that we need to watch here, Jim, is are they going to lift the blackout? I am told that they are down to less than 10,000 seats or room in the infield. 10,000 left. Now you're going to have 360,000 people. Lift the damn blackout. It's a stupid idea on its face, but when you've got just a couple thousand tickets left at this point, a couple of weeks out from the Indianapolis 500, lift the blackout. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I understand holding on to the secrecy of it right now to try to, they want to sell every one of those 10,000 that's left that they can. But if people are going to go at this point, they're probably going to go. Most people that go to the Indianapolis 500, it's something that, I'm going to the 500. It's either a tradition, it's family, it's just all kinds of reasons.
I played golf with a guy yesterday who's been to 55 straight Indy 500s. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, and his father went to 76 straight. Can you imagine that? 76 consecutive. He started out as a child and never stopped going.
Like, what year would that have been that he started?
Oh, don't make me do math.
Well, I'm just talking about what era are we talking that he started?
Well, let's see. I was born in 60, so he would have been born in the late 40s.
So he probably started going in the 50s, maybe?
Yeah, 40s, 50s. Yeah.
Can you imagine? The reason I asked that, can you imagine the difference in technology that he witnessed from the 50s until his last race? Holy crap. It's like going from some black and white movie to a spaceship.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, the stories that those guys and those women who have been to all these races could tell. I'm looking forward to it. But right now, I'm all Indiana Pacers and the Fever. The Fever.
I was going to say we didn't get to talk about the Fever. Unfortunately, we talked about the daggone Indy, but the Fever open tonight, right?
They do. I don't know what the crowd is supposed to look like. I haven't asked. I guess I'll figure it out when I get there. But they had a huge sellout crowd in Connecticut. They got whacked by 20, I think it was.
Tara. See, not to interrupt you, I apologize, but Caitlin Clark got the introduction that Diana Taurasi suggested that she might get that reality was coming, were her exact words, and reality came with 10 turnovers?
10 turnovers. Yeah, almost had a triple-double with turnovers. I had no problem whatsoever with Diana Taurasi saying what she said. A lot of people thought she was being a hater. Look, Victor Wembanyama did not come out of the gates with triple doubles. I mean, as the season wore on, Wembanyama, who is considered the generational talent since LeBron, it took him a while. And look, his team won what, 15, 20, 25 games? I don't know. What wasn't very many with the San Antonio Spurs. So it's going to take time for Caitlin. It's going to take time for the Fever. As Brian S. mentions here, they have an absolutely brutal schedule to open the season. They play constantly, and they're playing all the elite teams in the WNBA.
Absolutely. Bob Kravitz from bobkravitz.com. What's up next for you? Just the Pacers and the Knicks tomorrow, right?
Right. Fever tonight. I'll be there. The Knicks and Pacers on Friday. I'll be there. And I may go out to the track this weekend. We'll see what's going on. I'm kind of playing it by ear. I got important golf tee times.
Oh, yeah, I know. PGA be damned, right?
Exactly right.
Bob Kravitz from bobkravitz.com. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
You betcha. Brought to you by Free Think. Free Think can get all of your printing needs done, whether it's 20 t-shirts for the upcoming family reunion or 200 for this summer's baseball league. Free Think Apparel meets your printing needs. Their team of industry experts works with you to design a professional-looking, sales-generating web store of your very own for custom promotional apparel and merchandise. From large corporations to small businesses, high schools, sports teams, national accounts, Free Think Apparel delivers no matter where you are. Visit freethinkapparel.com today and get printing. We're back with more, including Tyler Smith from the Hoosier.com right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
In the market. Oh, I'm sorry. I drained that one, but it was a great segment.
Morning, Tyler.
Good morning.
Did you hear me? Did you
Yeah,
hear
I
me,
heard
Joe?
you do it every day, so it doesn't really make me mad.
I know. It's
adjusted after
it's
the
so
fact.
hard. And you know what I'm pissed off about? Doug Gottlieb got the job at Green Bay, which first of all is ridiculous. I wanted to talk to him. I wish I'd have had Bob on for longer. I could have talked for a whole other segment about stuff. But Doug Gottlieb also hosts a show on Fox Radio, I think.
Yeah, Fox.
And he's the reason we're only on for 1 hour in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've never heard this. They're going to let him keep his freaking job doing that while he's the flipping head coach of a D1 team, which is idiotic and stupid. But it also pisses me off because I wanted him to be kicked off so we can get that other hour.
Tyler, sorry we haven't done more stuff this week. I had to leave early twice to go to my other job Monday and Tuesday, so I haven't thought about. But we'll get back to it on next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh boy, we got to get you a microphone, man. I thought you said you had one.
I do, but StreamYard is weird with it for some reason.
We can troubleshoot it. Maybe one day next week and see.
Yeah, that shouldn't matter. StreamYard shouldn't be affected by a microphone. That should be, have you checked your settings?
Yeah, because I was on this other podcast, this music thing where Restream and Zoom, every time it was in StreamYard, it got staticky. No idea why.
Maybe move to the living room the next time. Carpet? You have carpet in your living room?
I do upstairs.
See, all of that, it absorbs all the sound. And that sometimes that alone is more than enough. so it's not bouncing off of walls and the floor, hardwood or, solid floor surfaces and all of that. The greatest place I ever had to do it from was from a closet one time that I had a walk-in closet. You want to talk about the deadest sound ever. It was just full of clothes. It was a very small space full of clothes, so there was no bounce. It was awesome.
All right, here we go, guys. 1-2-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com. That's mystonecrestliving.com for more details. This segment is brought to you by Hoosier Hanks East. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio for you on this Thursday. Appreciate you being with us, as always. Brought to you by our good friends at Hoosier Hanks East, located off College Mall Road, right in Bloomington. Hoosier Hanks has an array of custom pizzas, straws, baked wings, mac bowls, fresh salads, so much more. Their salads are awesome. I love all their food. Dine in, carry out, or have Hank cater your next event. Hoosier Hanks East is a great place to watch games, gather with the team after the game, or use their exclusive party room for your next gathering. Just order online at hanks.com or visit 1285 South College Mall Road. Tell them we sent you. This is one of my favorite shirts. They have all of these pictures there with Hank. That his Hank has been turned. They put Hank's head on it or inserted him in places. It's pretty funny. Welcome aboard, Tyler Smith from thehoosier.com, and plenty going on with Indiana basketball still as they get a commitment from Langdon Hatton last night to fill one of the two final scholarship positions and the backup big that they were looking for, the 6'10" kid from North Harrison High School, originally down in southern Indiana in Harrison County, right on the river, and Bellarmine playing for Scotty Davenport down there. So he's been schooled very well.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit. He averaged 10.5 points, 7 boards. Didn't shoot a lot of threes, but he's able to step out and shoot. So good fit. He can protect the rim a little bit, but I think there's going to be some good minutes available in that backup role. I was thinking too, and to kind of calm some of the nerves of some IU fans, even if there's an injury out of the first two bigs, Ballo, Renew, you would just slide Mbako to the 4. Hatton would still be the backup at that point. So it's not like he's got to be ready for starter minutes necessarily in the Big Ten, but I think there's going to be a good role and good fit for him.
Well, it certainly depends too upon what type of style we see from Mike Whitson this year, or is it still an offense that runs through the middle, or is it one that's going to have much more tempo to it and more movement on offense? That has not been what we've seen thus far under his regime. Of course, he had Trace Jackson Davis in the middle, and then Kalel Ware, who is awaiting going through. We'll talk about the fact that the NBA Combine is going on in Chicago right now, in which Kalel Ware and others like Zach Edey are taking part in. But we also haven't seen Indiana with this type of a roster in which they have twice the talent this year than they had last year. I mean, twice the talent. And that makes a gigantic difference in what you're able to do, how you're able to attack defenses, how much pressure you're able to put on. If you have enough to come off the bench and successfully play and not give up, say, a 12-point lead to Auburn, like what happened last year, they got up, boom, bring in this hockey lineup replacement of guys who are not all starter. None of them were starter type at the starter type of level. You give up that lead. Well, that's point. And now you're back to ground zero. They've got to be to the point, if they're going to do that, that those guys can hold their own and maintain those leads. But they are obviously in a much better position to do that with the roster that they currently have.
Yeah, twice the talent, twice the depth. You got multiple guys that could be starters. So that's going to be intriguing by itself to see how that all shakes out. But I also feel like the strategy that Indiana kind of put forth in the portal season kind of shows their hand a little bit. I mean, we're talking like out of the first 20 or so names that they were connected to, like 17 of them were wings, 17 or 18 were wings. And the fact that they're comfortable basically having one big as a backup, as opposed to bringing in 4 or 5, guys to play the 4 or 5 spots. So I feel like that with the backcourt guys they've brought in, I think we're at least seeing signs of a more modern kind of approach. Obviously, they got to go prove it on the court, but I think even the strategy that they've used in portal season kind of shows that that's the direction that they're trying to head towards.
Absolutely. And the fact that they have just this one spot left, I talked earlier, comparing last year with having that open scholarship was very, very detrimental to that team because they did not have the depth. They did not have the talent. The numbers are even if the numbers are the same this year, completely different. They could not fill this. And I don't know that it would be missed. But I personally, if it's me, I'm filling the spot if at all possible, just because, if not just for practice, to try to get somebody that can help elevate practice. But you can never have enough depth. Usually there are not many teams that are 13 deep. I'll be the first to tell you that. But right now, there's hardly anybody on that roster that can't play, which that's something great to have for you, going for you. And I would be shocked if they wanted to, that they couldn't find somebody to fill that last spot.
Yeah, for me, ideally, that last spot, if they could have brought in, another incoming freshman who may not play right away, but there's a guy that they see playing in a couple years, that would be super ideal. Maybe somebody who's a little more raw, even if they're not a freshman, maybe a sophomore transfer, somebody that's a little more raw that can learn from the depth that this team has, and then maybe he's ready to go the next year. Or maybe they find another big body or another shooter. But I think it's probably 50-50 or maybe even more that they don't end up filling that spot. But as you mentioned, and as we talked about last week, it's a much different feel having that open Scully compared to last season.
And so they'll go into this year with a full load and a team, again, that now will be looked at as one of the top, probably one of the favorites to I don't want to say one of the favorites to win the Big Ten title because it's just way too early. Again, I always say I don't know what Illinois is going to be like. We don't know what everybody's going to be like just yet. It will never be easy. That's something I will guarantee you. You've got the addition of UCLA in addition to USC, Washington, and Oregon, but UCLA and Mick Cronin will be bringing a good squad into the Big Ten. We've got all that new introduction, so there's going to be a lot of newness going on, but Indiana seems set to take care of that. And more importantly, they need a good year for 2 reasons. Number one, Mike Woodson has to have a good year. There's just no question about it. Partly because I guarantee you, I don't have the figure, but I know it is a large sum of money that has gone into building this team. So if that were to go to waste, that's going to piss some people off. But in addition to that, and maybe more importantly, for the next recruiting cycle, which is extraordinarily important, you can always live in the portal, but I don't think that's something you want to have to do every year. But the 2025 class is of uber importance, and there are at least 4 guys that just jump out at you that they're trying to land. Trent Sisley, of course, Braylon Mullins, Malachi Moreno, and Jalen Harrelson.
Yeah, and all those guys have some big games coming up this weekend. Last weekend, I was in attendance to watch Indy Elite again. It was more of a tune-up weekend. They didn't play very good teams, but they were having fun. It was a dunk contest. They were getting up and running, and any experience they have as they get closer to the 3 SSB championships in South Carolina in July. Any experience they have is going to be good. They're 15-0 now. Mullins was lighting it up in game 1. Sisley was really strong in game 2. And they are in Texas this weekend. I believe one of the teams they play has a Kentucky commit, Midwest Basketball Club. So this week going to be more challenging. They also play team-loaded North Carolina, which is coming off a 5-0 weekend. Not entirely sure how their strength of schedule in that 5-0 weekend, but obviously a talented team. So they play, and then big one this weekend is Indianapolis. Nike EYBL. Other IU targets like Jalen Harrelson will be in action. Lots of guys: Malik Thomas, Kyan Anthony, Darius Adams, Trey McKinney. Lots of guys all weekend long, and at the PAC in Westfield. And also, this is the first, I believe, live action period where Division I coaches can come watch these events. So it's going to be pretty crazy. If you go to circuithoops.com, I think has schedule and some info, and some stuff moves around a little bit as it gets closer. But I know, like tomorrow night, Harrelson will be action at, I believe, 4 p.m., and then he's got a 8 a.m. game Saturday morning, and then the rest of it will kind of depend on if they win or lose. But lots of big names, and it's not even just those four. Those four are the big ones, but there's a good 7 to 10. It feels like targets in 2025 that Indiana is closely connected to.
I assume you'll be up in Westfield to check out Jalen Harrelson and that crew.
Yes, I will be. It should be pretty wild with a lot of action, a lot going on. The team Mello is there. The family from Michigan team, who's a really good. Malik Thomas plays for New Heights Lightning. So a lot of these teams will be, whether they get kind of a bit of a tune-up game in game 1, but then they come together and play. And last weekend Malik Thomas was a first teamer, 22 points, 4 boards, and Harrelson was a third teamer, 17 points, 5 boards. So much talent, so much to dive into.
Yeah, and it's going to take a hell of a recruiting job by Mike Woodson and his staff to land these guys. Now, I'm not saying they're going to land all 4. That would be just a grand slam home run. I mean, that would be potentially one of the best recruiting classes in IU basketball history. Not the best. I'm not going to say the best because, number one, they had a team that was undefeated nearly for 2 years. So those recruiting classes, they have to stand out. The recruiting class of 1989 was pretty damn good. But as far as rankings, this would probably be, the ranking system wasn't around back in the day. This would probably, if they were to land those 4 guys, it would have to be the highest recruiting class Indiana has ever landed.
Yeah, I would think so. And, even if they end up with 2 or 3 guys, and then they fill in. There's some other guys they're targeting that are also top 100 that don't get talked about as much. And you look at even this past season when all that stuff went down, and all of a sudden, Bryson Tucker all of a sudden becomes available, and they snatch him up. So I think there's some opportunity for that as well, because they're going to have a lot of open spots for next year. So ideally, we've talked to these guys, Mullins and Sisley, Marino. They would like to decide late summer, early fall. So important couple months here for Indiana to try to seal the deal. And if they do on even one or a couple of these guys, then, that list of top 100, you can fill out that class and get a really, really impressive class coming in.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it. It is a big weekend. Indiana Elite with Trent Sisley, Braylon Mullins, Malachi Moreno, and more, and crew. They are down in Bryan, Texas. And then, as Tyler mentioned, Jalen Harrelson and many others will be at the Pacers Athletic Center. Great opportunity for people to go out and see guys play now. You'll never get an opportunity to be this close. So if that's something you're interested in, boom, you have it. And it's access. And like I said, the coaches will be there this weekend. So that'll be huge. Tyler Smith from thehoosier.com. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com and keep up with all the latest in Indiana news and recruiting. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
You bet. Hey, we've got lots more coming up. Brought to you by Boost Fundraising. You know anyone that needs a fundraiser? Well, Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member, free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com. Be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, COYLE, and you receive a discounted fundraiser. Back with Chris Denari of the Indiana Pacers right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Formerly.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, John. Hey, I have a question. Do you know I'm trying to turn my phone, but it won't do it?
There could be. You may
I
have
bet you're
accidentally
setting.
hit
Yeah, sorry.
a setting
I bet
where
back
it's like a rotate
landscape.
your phone.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have an Android or an Apple, but on Androids, it's at the top.
I have an iPhone.
I would just go into your settings and see if you have a display
you've locked
setting that
it, I
allows
bet.
you to rotate your phone back.
Because it's not allowed me to rotate my pictures either. And I don't have any
Then
idea
you've
why.
accidentally locked it into landscape.
Now I got to figure out where it is.
Where do I find mine? Actually, I just pulled mine down, all of my settings, my main phone settings. Auto rotate. Mine, you got to be set to auto rotate. It should be in your normal settings, but I don't have an iPhone.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Auto rotate for an iPhone.
If not, you're just going to get me like this.
And that's okay if it's no big deal.
Yeah, I know, but it's just bizarre that I can't. I just noticed it on my photos. It was doing that.
And it could just be a glitch with Apple. I know sometimes random things like that happen where they got to fix the bug or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Swipe down from the top right corner of your screen to open Control Center.
Okay.
Tap the portrait orientation lock button. Make sure that is off.
That just did it.
Look at them.
Booyah,
Jim saves the
baby.
day.
Jim Coyle with the
Oh, mercy. Busy. Oh, well, I guess it's not as busy, but man, Valley Sports or Comcast.
yeah,
They're
Comcast.
just-
Comcast White Valley off because they're arguing over price or whatever.
Well, I know it's ridiculous because everybody has come to an agreement except for
Right.
Comcast, and it's like,
Right.
dude,
Here we go, guys.
on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline, go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door.
This segment is brought to you by the Fresh Fork in Bloomington. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Thursday. Thank you so much for being with us, of course, as always. Brought to you by the Fresh Fork. Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. Proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse, from hearty proteins to fresh salads. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Order online and let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use the promo code radio20 and get $20 off your first order. Make sure you support those who support us, and welcome aboard Chris Denari, the TV voice of the Indiana Pacers, who didn't get quite the effort that fans had hoped in Game 5. It was Game 5, up in New York, which tough place to play, of course, but it was not really close.
No, it reminded me of Game 5 in Milwaukee, just a sort of a flat performance. Give the Knicks a lot of credit after the Pacers had blown them out in Game 4, a 32-point win on Sunday. You knew the Knicks and Madison Square Garden would be electric, and it was. And so now the Pacers, down 3-2, have a chance to even the series tomorrow night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. They won a Game 6 back in the first round series against Milwaukee, but Jim, that was a series clinching win. Now what they're trying to do is get a win on Friday to force a Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. And if that could happen, there's been a lot of history between the Pacers and the Knicks in playoff series and Game 7s going back to the mid-90s. So that's what you have to do. I'm confident the Pacers can do that at home. They've won 10 straight games at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. They won the last 5 regular season games. They've won the 5 games they played in the playoffs at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So, hopefully they can have that happen. And then you go to a Game 7 on Sunday afternoon at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, our buddy Bob Kravitz was on with us earlier today, as he is each week. And he said he had previously predicted that the Pacers would win the Milwaukee series in 6 games, and that they would win this series in 7. So he said he's sticking with that, and he certainly has the opportunity for that to come to fruition. Of course, the Pacers play a lot better in Gainbridge Fieldhouse, but those games that they've had at home, or at least the first, was not easy.
No, I mean, when you look at they needed the Nemhard 3-point shot last week, to win Game 3. And then dominated Game 4. They've been a good road team all year. They were 21-20 on the road. They had a 5-game road win streak late in the year. I mean, they had some impressive wins at Golden State, at Dallas, at Oklahoma City. They won at Milwaukee this year. They won at New York in the regular season. So they know what it's like to experience the road. Now, Madison Square Garden in a Game 7, just as we saw in Game 5, is sort of a different animal. But there's to some point, Jim, I think a loss is a loss. Doesn't matter if you lose by 1 or 30. But I think the Knicks getting blown out in Game 4 resonated with them at Madison Square Garden. And I believe that the Pacers getting blown out in Game 5 will resonate with them back at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Yeah, and looking forward to that, because there's nothing more exciting than a Game 7 in virtually every sport. As long as they don't turn into routes. But Game 7s are usually just it's just all in. You're hyper focused. It's do or die, and hopefully we get to that point, and the Pacers can come through with a win. The biggest thing has been the non-effectiveness of Tyrese Halliburton, as much as the Pacers would like to see. In the losses, he's just kind of not been himself. And I credit some of the credit, of course, goes to the Knicks.
Yeah, I think the defense, especially in Game 5, they used Miles McBride. I told somebody that if Tyrese Halliburton went into the concourse to the concession stand, that's where Miles McBride was going. He was offering no help, and they did some double teaming that I thought affected the Pacers. Tyrese has had, what you would say, I don't want to say poor games, but games where he wasn't like himself in Games 1 and 5. He was really good in Game 2 at Madison Square Garden, but the Pacers came up short. He had a 30-point game. He had another 30-point game in Game 3. And then in Game 4, I think he had 20. He didn't need to play the fourth quarter because the Pacers had such a big lead. But they will need more from him. Now, people are trying to compare him to Brunson. They are different players. Brunson is a one-on-one, pound the ball, get to the paint and score. Tyrese is a free-flowing point guard who is as happy getting 12 assists as he is his scoring. But they're going to need more of his scoring like we saw in games 2, 3, and 4, not what we saw in 1 and 5.
Yeah, and this is a young Pacers team that does not have a ton of playoff experience. Tyrese Halliburton, of course, this is really his first foray of leading a team through the playoffs, and it's a growth experience. It takes Michael Jordan, a great example. You know, when he came into the league, as great as he was going up against guys that were still better, that had better teams, and they didn't really get going until they got past Detroit, after Detroit had that run. So it takes a little bit to gain that experience, especially when you got to get it.
Yeah, I think that the only two players really of the top 8 or 9 that have significant playoff experience would be Miles Turner, all of those with the Pacers, and of course Pascal Siakam, who won a title in Toronto. But you look at somebody like Aaron Nesmith, while he may have 20-plus games of playoff experience, 2 years of that was with Boston, where he had a very limited role. Same with Obi Toppin. He had a very limited role when he was with New York. For Isaiah Jackson, Nembhard, Halliburton, Ben Shepherd, this is their first playoff experience. And you counter that on the other side, Jalen Brunson's approaching 50 games that he's played in his playoff career. So now some people would say, hey, you're now in the playoffs. You're not necessarily a playoff veteran, but you do have a little experience. That's true, but none of these players have ever been in a situation they'll be in tomorrow night, and that's an elimination game. Remember, against the Bucks, they never were facing elimination, but tomorrow night they will be facing elimination, and so that's a different mindset that you have to take into that game. Even though it's one game and you've got to approach it as that, in the back of your mind, you know that if you lose, your season is over. So I think this has been a great growth opportunity, Jim. I still think they're very capable of getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. They are capable of winning tomorrow night, and they can win a Game 7. But all in all, this franchise is really ahead of schedule. I don't think anybody at the beginning of the year would have predicted that they would be in the final 8 of the NBA going into mid-May. And so that is something that, you know, we'll think about once the season is over. But I would have to say at this point, it's been a really strong season, and it can be stronger if they can win tomorrow night and then somehow win at Madison Square Garden on Sunday.
Yeah, that would be an incredible and highly unexpected result for the Pacers. I mean, not that I'm saying that they are without talent and they're in the playoffs, but to make the conference finals as a 6th seed, that's unexpected. When you look at it, not from fans, of course, but outsiders probably don't expect the Pacers to be in that position. But that's irrelevant, and the Pacers have the opportunity to do that, and that would be pretty damn incredible to make it that far for this young team because, man, I just talked about experience and being able to go into a Game 7 with that on the line, on the road, and pull that win out. Well, that would be exceptional experience for next season.
Yeah, and you want to take advantage of what you have in front of you because, as we all know, nothing's guaranteed. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know about injuries, all those kinds of things. I mean, think back to the Pacers back in 2013 and 2014. They back-to-back go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then in the summer of 14, Paul George breaks his leg. All things change. The whole franchise changed because of that one injury in Las Vegas when he was with Team USA. So you're right, Jim. You have to think about the here and now and what the Pacers are trying to accomplish. And yes, they've had a great season. They've done far more than anybody thought, and the future does look bright. But again, nothing's guaranteed. So try to take advantage of what's in front of you right now and do the best of it that you can with that.
Yes, and I can't wait for that. Chris also heavily involved in the Indianapolis 500. If you listen regularly, you know he sits right in turn 4, baby. One of the best places in the house. A house that will be super packed. We were just talking to Bob about the potential of whether or not the blackout is going to be lifted this year, which that is a pain. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's a pain in the ass for people who live in this state or in that area. It's just BS. When you have 300,000+ people, that should be a line. If you cross that line, you're good. And with only 10,000 spots left or less, I'm thinking that they're going to just go up to the very end, and then no matter, even if they don't sell those 10,000, they'll lift it this year, hopefully, for the fans. I think it just sucks that is in place when you have the largest sporting event on the entire planet Earth.
Well, the one thing, it's great for us on the radio network. We have a lot of listeners in central Indiana. I was there for the road course race last weekend. I was sitting on the suites in turn 2 for that race. So looking forward, my next activity will be Carburation Day. And then, of course, the race in a couple of Sundays. So looking forward to once again being a part of that, sitting in turn 4. I've had some iconic finishes in the past, and hopefully we have another one in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely looking forward to that. And it's I was right around the corner. Bob was all confused. He was thinking that he thought we had like 2 weeks left. And I'm like, nope, next week is qualifying, carb day, and the damn race is on Sunday, Bob. So we've only got a little over a week left in all of the festivities. And I was talking about the potential of Kyle Larson. The chances of him winning, probably not great, especially the first time he's ever ran the race, but he's a unique racer that seems to adapt to whatever you put him in. I think you could put him in a refrigerator and he could drive the hell out of it. But if he were to win that would cause havoc, because it's 2 hours after the race of doing stuff for the winner. He's got to be on a jet down to Charlotte, North Carolina, because he's going to drive in the longest NASCAR race of the year, the World Coca-Cola 600, whatever the hell it is now. But it's a 600-mile race, 1,100 total miles of racing in a single day.
Yeah, you've had what Kurt Busch did it a couple of years ago. You've had a few drivers chance that. Did Andretti did one of the Andrettis do it? Did maybe John Andretti? I think John Andretti.
Somebody had mentioned that before. Yeah. Tony Stewart did it, and there's now I already said it earlier. Now I'm forgetting who the heck it was.
Yeah, it will be tough for him to win. I mean, he does not have the experience. You're right. He could drive anything. I saw he was driving a dirt car or a sprint car this past week, and it flipped somewhere here in Indiana. I mean, the guy can drive anything. But it would be very difficult for him to win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when you look at the field and just how deep and how many former Indianapolis 500 champions you have. Better chance for him to go down to Charlotte and win the 600. But he's a tremendous racer, and it brings a lot of notoriety to both races. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway and Charlotte Motor Speedway, with what Kyle Larson is trying to do.
Yeah, that also brings a little more attention. Not that the Indy 500 needs any more attention, but it's an added element, added storyline. And there are many. Can Joseph Newgarden defend his title? When's the last time that happened? I don't know. That's a
great question. Yeah. And the other thing, can Alex Palou make it the double? Can he win the road course race and then win on the oval? I mean, he's a super talented driver for Chip Ganassi Racing. So yeah, there are a lot of storylines. I know the cars will be on the track today. They had very limited activity in the last day or so because of all the rain here in central Indiana, but that'll be important because then you have Fast Friday tomorrow night. The good news is the Pacers game now on Friday night is at 8:30. At one point, it could have been a 6 o'clock start. But now, people can go out to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Fast Friday, get ready for a qualifying weekend, and then have plenty of time to get downtown to Gainbridge Fieldhouse for an 8:30 Game 6 start tomorrow night.
And then you also got the PGA going on in Louisville right now, so it's crazy.
Yeah. And then Caitlin Clark and the Fever have their home opener tonight. Sellout crowd, 17,000 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So, quite a weekend here in Indianapolis. And then again down at Valhalla, our middle son is on his way down to see round 1 of the PGA down in Louisville today. So I know he'll have a lot of fun down there.
Going on right now, Shoffley leading at 4 under, Spieth 3 under, Hovland at 3 under, McIlroy 1 back. So the big names are already out. Beautiful weather down there today too. It's gorgeous, but I checked the forecast and Saturday is a 73% chance of rain. Yeah. The good thing is I checked the further out forecast. Beautiful on Sunday and Monday if they have to go an extra day. But that sucks for golfing, man. It changes everything. It's different than even other sports because it changes everything. It changes your distance. It changes your shots. It changes the putting. It just really changes virtually every shot except for your drive. Even your drive are not going to go as far.
Yeah, just as we're talking, I got a text message from my son with a picture of Justin Thomas swinging the golf club. So yeah, he's down there. He left very early this morning here, and he's already on the course watching.
Yeah, he must. I think you have to catch a bus someplace and ride the bus over to the golf course. Justin Thomas, of course, from Louisville. So that would be cool. Well, brother, we look forward to it again. Okay. Hopefully next week we're talking about a Pacers win and as they are heading to the Eastern Conference Finals.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Talk to you next week.
Thank you. Chris Denari from the Indiana Pacers, brought to you by the Ugly Grouper down on Anna Maria Island, Florida. Best place to be. It is the place to be. If you're already in the area or will be, the Ugly Grouper is much more than just unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers, cocktails, along with live music every day. Is family friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Maria Island, Florida. Tell them we sent you. Go to theuglygrouper.com for more information. We're back with more. We'll talk some basketball again after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
In the market. Big Al, man, F. Farkle. Man, that was missed not knowing that he's in the world. Man, when I was I lived at Farkle's house, by the way, Alan, if you're still listening, for a while. They're right on 150, Road 150. He was a great dude, man. Great dude. Had a damn BMW motorcycle he kept in his living room. But when I was in my early or late teens, early 20s, there's a group of everybody had a nickname. Well, most of us worked at it was called Point Amico at Highlander Point there in Floyd's Knobs. It was a damn social hub. It was a self-service, full service gas station. And boy, we had the same customers. It was the same workers, all around the same age. If you wanted to know what was going on, you stopped by a Point, or you just stopped by to shoot the crap. Man, so I can't even remember all the nicknames. Mine was Roper, of course, for obvious reasons. I rope. Oh man, there were some good ones. Just funny people. Moberly was the funny guy. I think he's the one that came up with all the nicknames. He was the purveyor of dropping those. Played football with Allen. Fellow Highlander, went to Floyd Central. Man, I was reading, I have a story that's saved in my phone. I was reading about Floyd Central making the basketball Final Four in 1971. I was reading that last night, a story that was written. What an incredible run that was. And unfortunately, they had the unfortunate thing of running into probably the greatest team in the history of Indiana high school basketball, East Chicago. Good Lord. They had Pete Turgovich, who went to UCLA, Mel Stoddard, who pitched in the Major League Baseball, Junior Bridgman, who played at Louisville. I'm trying to think who all they had. Floyd Central had
10 seconds. Sorry.
Jerry Hale, who went to Kentucky. A part of the Wild Food Group is your butcher, baker, and fish house, no matter where you live.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville and Evansville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Thursday. So happy to have you. Good morning to ISC there, Indiana Sports Connection. Hope you're doing well as also. Brought to you by Bubba's 33 down in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer, located right off of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Incredible place. Love it. 50 big screen TVs, outdoor patio, bar side. It's just it's a perfect place to go. Love it. Tons of basketball. Lots of people talking about basketball on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. Kind of hard to keep up with it. Alan, I really appreciate that, brother. Appreciate you greatly. I hope your brother and family are doing well. Five Less says, oh, gee, he's going to pull a Willis Reed. I don't know that they need him to pull a Willis Reed, though. Or I don't know, man. I guess they could if it goes 7 games, but they might be trying to hope that they can rest him to take on the Celtics, because they will need everything and more to take on the Celtics. But we will certainly find out. Anybody going to the Indianapolis 500? I guarantee you somebody listening is going to the Indianapolis 500 with 330 plus thousand people. I would imagine it is unbelievable. Wheatley, Missouri, man. Bundo. I love having different conversations at the same time. Let's see. I checked a message a while back. I locked it just so I can go back and catch it. And it's hard to stay up with all these while you're doing it, but I cannot find that stupid thing. I thought I starred that thing. I was almost certain I did. It was a comment regarding this season's. There we go. Damn it. All right. Oh, yes. Thank you. That was a reminder. Brian likes the Colts schedule. Colts schedule just came out last night as the NFL released all of the NFL schedules. And it seems to be, what is it that you like about it? Is there anything that you don't like about it? They're, let's see. I think they open at Houston. There's 17 games. And how they determine all these games, I was reading through that, you play your divisional opponents twice, home and away. Then there's a division from the other conference that you play those 4 teams on a rotational basis. Then there are like 2 inter-conference teams that you play. And then your 17th game is based on the standings of either last year or I can't remember. It's wacky. It's, I need my daughter who's going to be a CPA. I need her to figure that out and just tell me how they do all that. It's crazy. But Colts versus the Texans, that September 8th is when that kicks off. I don't know if those are just home games or not. They have Green Bay on the schedule, the Chicago Bears, the Steelers, of course, Jacksonville, Tennessee, the Miami Dolphins. No, they open at home versus Houston. My bad. On September 8th. So they open up at Lucas Oil. But they will travel to the non-frozen tundra of Green Bay for their second game. Then they have the Bears at home, the Steelers at home. They go to Jacksonville, which has been a freaking tough place for them to win for some reason. They're at Tennessee back to back, Jacksonville, then Tennessee. Then they've got the Dolphins at home. They travel back to Houston for that game. They go to Minnesota. They have the Buffalo Bills coming in. They travel to New York to take on the Jets with, I would be shocked if it's Aaron Rodgers, but I really don't care. I'm so over Aaron Rodgers. I am really over him and his wacky BS. They take on the Lions at home. They have to travel to New England to take on the Patriots. Speaking of which, did anybody watch the Tom Brady roast? Holy crap. They travel out west to take on Denver. Then they have Tennessee coming in at home. They travel to New York twice. They have to go play the Giants as well in the Big Apple. So plenty of games there to look at. Plenty of things going on. Justin asking, is anybody on the radar for the last scholarship? Yeah, there's several on the radar. There's several people that they've talked to. We're talking Indiana basketball now. That is just a tough spot to fill. It is, because it's literally going to be looked at by any presumptive people to fill that as the 13th spot on the team, because they're pretty deep right now. Then you've got some guys that are already on the team that were already there, like Anthony Leal, Trey Galloway. So you're looking like, okay, where's my playing time going to come from? There's not that many minutes to go around. So that's what's going to be the difficulty. But like I said, what team has 13 guys, which is the scholarship limit, that are really play ready, game ready? You normally don't have that. But Indiana's pretty close to that right now. You could argue that they're there. It's going to be a wait and see on Ja'Kai Newton to see how he returns from not only his injury, but being away from the game basically for 2 years. He hasn't hardly played. To look at him, this dude is a physical specimen already. As a matter of fact, if you remember when I had him on the program, he did the interview. He's the first and only guest I have ever had to do the entire interview shirtless. So there's that. But I think that he has the appearance to me. I get the feeling he has the aura of a competitor. He just seems like somebody who is going to go in and, from the outside, he looks like what you'd call a dog. Whether he is or not, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. So there's that. Got some new Pacer uniforms coming. So I'll tell you what I'll probably do. I'll probably put that one up for a giveaway. Pete, we'll have to figure out a giveaway to do, and we'll give that jersey away, and I'll replace it, update it with something new. I meant to ask Tyler about what's going on in what's going on with the NBA Combine up in Chicago, to update on that. I know that Kalaware has been doing pretty damn well in most things across the board. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up being drafted. I definitely think he's a first round pick, but what's it go? 32? I think that he's going to be a mid to late first round pick, anywhere from 20 to 30, which I know that's kind of a large range, but not really. And we'll see once he finishes his combine, because that can change a lot of people's mind. He has a 3-point shot. I'm not saying he's great at it, but you get better. Basketball just then becomes your job. It's all you do. And you have professionals helping you, working with you on your shots, on this and that. He's got to put on weight is what he's going to have to do, but he's got the size, he has the length. That goes a long way. If you're that tall and can move and have a 3-point shot, that's why potentially it's going to be a great comparison between, say, him and Zach Edey. Two completely different players, and see how they both can impact with their playing time. Zach Edey, there's no question that he's going to be tough to deal with in the paint. My question about Zach Edey is going to be more defensively than anything, and offensively, because he's this will piss off the Purdue fans, but he's basically a one-trick pony. Get the ball within 4 feet of the rim and either shoot from 4 feet out or dunk it. You know, what's he have to reach? An extra 6 inches to get to the rim from his standing reach. So, but you've got to defend guys that are going to be on the move. Let's say if you're guarding a guy that's like Kalel Ware, but who's in an offense that has a lot of movement, that's where I'm wondering if Zach Edey can keep up. Is he going to be able to chase these guys, get through the screens? Because you can't camp out in the paint in the NBA. There's a 3-second violation on defense for a lane violation. So there'll be that to check out. Lots going on this weekend. The Rivals Combine Series football camp at Indianapolis is Decatur High School Saturday. Some elite players, nothing but elite players. It's an invitation only. We'll see how Kalaware ends up with everything after the NBA Combine finishes up. Meant to talk about the possibility of unlimited coaches in college football with Shannon. We'll do that next week. And I missed the daggone odd high school names that Pete said. Daggone it. I meant to go because there were some funny ones. But what a great day it has been on this Thursday. Doug Gottlieb, the new head coach at Green Bay, didn't get to talk about that. I'll save that for tomorrow because that's still mind-boggling. I saw something from our friend, daggone it, John, who is from Illinois, Stephen Bardo.
Yes.
Stephen Bardo put out something yesterday that was like, really? Doug Gottlieb? He's like, the dude has got zero experience. He's never been an assistant coach, never been a head coach at even a high school. He's never coached. And not only that, he had a little issue when he was at Oklahoma State as a player.
1 minute.
So that's just something we'll dig into. Don't forget Monday, the Evansville IU Alumni Association's golf outing. Don't forget, you can still sign up for that. I'm sure you can just Google that. It'll pop up. And we'll have PGA updates tomorrow and prepare you for the Pacers. Hope you've had a great time. It's been a fun day for me. I appreciate each and every one of you. From no matter where you are, how you're listening, we appreciate all of you guys. And we'll be back tomorrow to do it again. Thanks to John for keeping us between the white lines. Shannon Griffith from Hoosier Tailgate. Bob Kravitz of BobKravitz.com. Tyler Smith from thehoosier.com. And Chris Denari from the Indiana Pacers. Big thanks to each and every one of those guys. Tomorrow we're back. Let's see. Zach Osterman, Casey Bartley, Todd Leary's on tomorrow, by the way. So we will definitely be talking some hoops. Hope you had a great one. Get ready. Go out and have yourselves a great day. Enjoy the beautiful weather. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.